Well, it's Saturday night. It's a very wild Saturday night as Storm Gertrude continues to pummel away at the UK, battering us in every way, shape and form. I mean, some people are getting flooded, well, we had snow this morning, it's all gone now. High winds, torrential rains. Oh, it's like the apocalypse. Or as we call it here in Scotland, summer. We have a Sprue tour for you this evening, and it is a brand new kit, but this time it is also from a brand new manufacturer, which doesn't happen an awful lot these days. Or maybe it does, it just doesn't happen to me. It's a 1/48th scale Republic RF-84F Thunderflash, and it is made by a company called Tanmodel. No, not that kind of Tanmodel, this kind. TAN, as in the thing you get when you stay in the sun too long, which is why we're all kind of a shade of light blue here in Scotland. And they are from Turkey, the country, not the bird. And this kit has been very kindly supplied by those lovely chaps at ISM, International Scale Modeler, and you can get this kit on their website, UMP Retail. Sits around about the £40 mark, which isn't too bad for a 1/48th, brand new tool, brand new everything, really. A very well thought out package it is indeed, with some rather nice touches that you'll see. And nice box art, showing the Turkish version, obviously. Nice glossy finish, and I mean, obviously I've had a look inside the box. Nice sort of CAD thing on the back there. Okay, it's pigments off my table. You know the little ceiling tabs you get on your model boxes? Well, there's a little remove before flight tabs on them. Anyway, let's have a look and see what's inside, shall we? That's the important part. It's moulded in a kind of a greyish, no, it's not greyish, it's grey, it's just a different shade of grey from other greys. I'm not going to go down that route. And I remember when I first opened the box and looked at it, and I thought, wow, they had what appeared to be very heavy panel lines, but on closer inspection I actually found out that it was quite the opposite. The panel lines are actually very finely represented, but what I was actually seeing was rivet detail bordering the panel line, which just lent the sort of look that it was heavier. So we have some very crisp, clean surface, recessed surface detail on the fuselage halves, but there is something here that Tanmodel are doing that is, it's one of those things that you think, why hasn't everybody been doing that since like forever? And you'll see here on the, where the wings attach to the fuselage, there is this recessed area, these recessed lines as it were, which is where the wings are physically going to slot into the fuselage. Now I know some kits do have that, where the wing slots, I mean I think some of the Airfix bombers of old have these big oval recesses where the whole wing slots into. But just the fact that this appears to be the thickness of the plastic means it's going to hold it firm. So there's no ambiguity about is it too low, is it too high, or it's going to hold the wings just perfectly in place. So in theory we shouldn't have any filling or any worries about wing root gaps or anything here. There's no internal detail of the fuselage, simply because the cockpit's one of those all-in-one things that will just slot in. The forward area, which is where all the camera bays are, because obviously there's reconnaissance RF, we'll have spar detail there. There are some ejector pin marks, but to be honest, you won't see them. There is an option to have the top bays, or the top doors of the cameras open. Failing that, you'll just see what you can see through the camera windows. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to go with that one. I'll wait and see what kind of sort of detail levels we'll have in the camera bay. The next sprue has in fact the cameras on it. Yep, there they are. As well as the seat, which looks, you know, for injection molded plastic, great. I mean, I dare say somewhere there may be a resin seat available for it. Obviously I'm going to have to try and get harnesses, but again, Cold War era jets, I'm sure there'll be a harness set somewhere by someone. If not, I don't know if there's any other 1/48 Thunderflashes out there, or Thunderstreaks, or whatever. so it shouldn't be too difficult to obtain a harness. I think there's a choice of fuel tanks, external fuel tanks. There isn't really a weapons loadout on this at all. And well, one thing that they do have on this sprue is the front wheel strut, which looks, again, can't complain. Nothing else of note on this particular tree, as it were. So we'll move on to the one that does have something of note, which is the wings. And again, from a, you know, stepping back, it does look like heavy panel lines, but again, it's not. It's panel lines bordered by rivet detail, which just looks absolutely stunning. With a wash in there, that's just going to just pop right out, especially if it's one of the bare metal finishes, of which there's quite a few to choose from with this kit. So that's just going to sparkle. One thing that they've done is that the wing wheels, the rear wheels, are moulded in one. You've got the strut and the wheel cover all as one, as opposed to having to stick the cylindrical part to the flat part. Which actually, that's okay. It does reduce the modelling fun, but it does make for a neater all-in-one, and it just depends on the design of the thing in the first place. But yeah, I wouldn't quibble over that. And the last of the big sprues has again more external fuel tanks. These ones have little fins on the back, and we have the main cockpit tub, which has some, yeah, I was going to say basic detail, but no, it looks reasonable enough. We have the instrument panel as well. Now I did notice that there was a decal for that as an options, which means we'll probably have to pare away all the detail. But well, we'll come to the canopy. But it would be nice to have this represented as realistically as possible, which obviously the relief detail on here would be that particular route. And yeah, I think rather than go down the decal option, I've been using these Prismacolor, is it Prismacolor? I can't remember what they're called now. Charismacolor, that's it, Charismacolor pencils to pick out detail like the bezels and whatnot, and maybe the white to create just it doesn't have to be an accurate dial, it just has to give the impression of it being a dial. So I think, as I say, I'll go down that route, and if it doesn't work, then we've got a decal to fall back on, don't we? So we come to the clear parts, and there's two sprues. There's one that has all the camera bay windows, as well as I'm presuming navigation lights, and a gun sight, which is nice and thin actually. Normally these things are quite chunky, and I usually replace them with a piece of acetate that I've cut from a sheet of clear acetate. But that one actually looks okay, to be honest, so we may well end up using that. The actual nose of the fuselage also has a camera bay window portal or whatever, but it looks like we just obviously masked that part, but we have rivet detail on these as well, so they're represented with their frames. I wonder if there's a mask set for this. Come on, Edward, get your act together. And yeah, so obviously that forms part of the fuselage, which means if it is and we have some kind of fit issue, we can fill and sand without worrying about harming the actual optical part. And then we'll come to the canopy. Now my main canopy actually detached from the frame, from the sprue, which isn't a problem. But the Thunderflash has a rather interesting manner in which the canopy opens. It seems the centre section lifts up on hydraulic rams rather than being hinged or sliding. So from that point alone, I think I'll show this one with the canopy open. Of late I've been showing things closed because it just keeps the line of the aircraft. That's just a little thing of mine. And this one certainly does have a nice sleek look to it that would benefit from the canopy being closed, as it were. And for some reason the air intakes are on a separate small sprue. Why? I don't know. Why they couldn't just fit that in somewhere. They didn't. Live with it. Now we'll come to the part where from what I've seen, kind of sets Tanmodel ahead of quite a few other manufacturers. Granted, the big Tamiya packages are wonderful with all the paraphernalia that comes with them. But for a kit costing 40 quid or plus or minus thereabouts, this isn't too bad at all. So your main instruction leaflet, you've got your box art on one side, you've got a smaller version on the other side, the usual technical stuff. But they've gone with the CAD principle for their instruction sheet. Everything's beautifully represented, it's clear, you can see exactly what you're doing. But one of the things that I do like is that in most cases they show you what the step is and then they show you what it should look like, which I think is a very, very good idea. I know some manufacturers like Wingnut actually have photographs of what the thing looks like when it's stuck together, but the CAD drawing is more than adequate. I mean, for example, there we can see the camera bays where all the camera bits go in, and then you see what the finished thing should look like, which is, it's a big help. You know, I mean, how many of us have been building kits from the Czech Republic, which, you know, I love them, but their instructions can be a bit vague at the best of times, with an arrow pointing to an indiscriminate part of the kit. You're like, well, where? You know, this lets you see. And some things are colour coded. The clear parts are in blue. Obviously grey for everything else. I mean, there, for example, there's the gun sight, so you know that you're having to use a clear part rather than trying to search through the runners for, you know, for a solid part. Which that wouldn't be a gun sight, but you know what I mean. You know, it's like, for example, look at the camera lenses. Ah, that's what all these things are, the camera lenses. Obviously, because they're in blue. Which again, just add that little bit of authenticity to them as well. Now, the thing with this particular kit is, you'll maybe have seen on the box art, on the front box art, is that there are lots of national emblems, and that is because there are lots of variations or variants to choose from. And Tanmodel gave you this quick reference sheet to show you what they all kind of look like. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to choose from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bare metal finishes, and 1, 2, 3 camo finishes. Obviously the Turkish one gets priority. Well, why not? And even the bare metal finish ones, I mean, especially the Luftwaffe one, very, very colourful with its blue and yellow drop tanks and the red tail fin. But, I mean, you're going to see a lot of bare metal finished Thunderflashes over the next year or so. So I think I'm going to go for one of the camo schemes, and I'm either going to go for the Royal Netherlands Air Force, which is a grey, green, blue camo scheme, or the Hellenic Air Force, the Greek one. Providing, I mean, we've all seen pictures of these Hellenic Corsairs, the jets, not the bent wing birds, and Phantoms, and they are weathered all to buggery. Some amazing weathering effects that can be had. I'll need to see if I can find a picture of a Hellenic Thunderflash to see if they suffered that same fate, as it were. If not, then the Royal Netherlands. I just quite like the look of the grey-green scheme with the blue underside. So once you've chosen your scheme, you then select it from the rather large decal sheet that they've given. Now the decals themselves are very glossy, so you're always going to have to put a matte finish, which you generally have to do anyway, but the glossier the decal, it's just sometimes you have to put more coats of matte on it just to get everything to even out. Not a major problem, but I suppose it depends on the varnishes. I've been using that AK, what do they call it, super matte or something. It's almost like a black hole, it sucks so much light into it when it's on, so we'll give that a try on these ones. But you've got your Turkish version here, you've got your Italian, German, the Luftwaffe one, the Royal Netherlands one, which I have to say it's kind of one of the smaller ones, which is maybe a pity. French one, and the American one. Well, there's 2 US ones to choose from. Oh, and there's the Hellenic one there, so no, that's the smallest. But something that was a nice little touch is they've obviously made a bit of a boo-boo, and that boo-boo being that the centre roundel on the French markings is green when it should in fact be blue, so they've given you a replacement set of French markings. The German flags are slightly out of register, so they've given you replacement ones of these, as well as the 2 Turkish flags, which I to be honest, I can't actually see what the difference is between these ones and these ones are, but anyway, they obviously saw something. And then you've got your stencil data, which thankfully isn't that bad. In fact, there's very little in the way of written stencils. It seems to be these lines and boxes, which are obviously quite unique to the Thunderflash, as well as this. I don't know if it's a stepping area. I suppose it will be on the, that just sits above the engine intakes, and I think all the variants have that. And then once you have selected your variant, you've got this little book to help you. Separate book for your markings and colour schemes. So the first pages are all your stencil stuff, and then you get onto the actual aircraft themselves. So there's the Turkish one, the US Air Force one, which actually, I must admit, looks quite good with the stars on the yellow. The German one, which is very colourful. Italian one. The French one, which has obviously got the replacement markings. Another French one with Suez Crisis bands on it, which would be quite a nice one to see as well. And then the camel ones. There's the Hellenic one, a US, United States Air Force National Guard one, and then I think it's probably going to be that one, the Royal Netherlands Air Force. And at the very back of the book you've got your some reference pictures of Thunderflash these days, which has got them all online. Actually, going back to the instruction leaflet, there is something that was quite a nice little touch, and that is that on every single page you're told what colours you need for that page, not just in general. Paint codes recommended on this page, and they're given in the Goons, or the Mr. Hobby, the Mr. Aqueous numbers, the H numbers, and also in Humbrol. So you've got an acrylic and you've got an enamel reference as well. But last of all, one of the nicest little touches. They give you a mouse mat. That's a first, huh? But the mouse mat, it also doubles as a display base with this lovely little taxiway ramp or whatever. But anyway, there we go. That is the Tanmodel Thunderflash, brand new kit from a brand new manufacturer. I'll be starting this fairly soon. I know I've got so much on the go at the moment, I just don't know where I am half the time. The Millennium Falcon, the little Bandai, is actually looking kind of like a Millennium Falcon at the moment. I didn't have to. I did use glue, but I didn't have to. This thing, we'll come to that in its own video. And the Mosquito is pretty much in its final stages. We've got the decals on, some weathering done, and well, there'll be a video for that, as well as the Samba bus. I built that for Revell, so I have to make a video for Revell, and they obviously have to have, you know, first dibs at seeing it to see if it's okay before it goes live, as it were. So anyway, there we go. Saturday night, so we're going away to watch Batman Begins, because we're just so rock and roll. Cheers, my dears.